All right. I grew up in the 90s, and I went to this Orthodox Jewish private high school called Maimonides. It was kind of like a 1950s sitcom, like a Leave It to Beaver-esque. There was no real popular kids. There were nerds and there were jocks, and we all kind of got along. And I wasn't really bullied. Occasionally people called me Grossy Yossi. That was about the extent of it. But there was no such thing as being popular. Everybody was inherently lame. And, you know, I watched TV, I heard about prom, but there was no prom in our high school. The worst thing that the rabbis wanted was to have mixed dancing. It was like the worst possible thing that could happen. And it was co-ed, but there was no dating. People had nobody had boyfriends and girlfriends. Everybody was a virgin, pretty much. It was very academically rigorous. We had 4 Hebrew subjects, 4 English subjects. We were so academically rigorous that our basketball team was called the MCATs. Maimonides MCATs, but it had a double meaning, obviously. We didn't really have much of a social life. One day, I was a bit of a rebellious kid. I decided to, I put my yarmulke in my pocket, and I walked 10 minutes to the other side of the trolley in Boston to Brookline High. Brookline High was the cool school. Conan O'Brien graduated there, and it was the opposite of what Maimonides was. I walk in there and I see, you know, people with green hair. I see a goth girl. I'm like, wow. There were boys and girls holding hands, making out. I was like, this is crazy. I walked into the school itself, and it was like 10 times bigger than our school. Our school was K through 12. This was 9 through 12. This was a high school, but it was bigger, and they had things like track and arts class. I didn't even know anything about those things. I was like, wow. So I was really impressed. That Sunday, I was hanging out with my friends, Joey Bez and Elon Malkin, and we were badasses. We were smoking clove cigarettes, hanging out in Newbury Comics. We went to a Chinese restaurant and ordered non-kosher vegetarian food. And then I went to my favorite place, Jack's Joke Shop. Jack's Joke Shop was an amazing place, and Jack was always cranky, but he saw me, he's like, what's going on? How did the shocking beer can go? And I said, oh, you know, I bought a shocking beer can. It was too strong. Basically, I put it on my, I ended up electrocuting one of my English teachers. And she happened to be pregnant at the time, we didn't know, and confiscated the beer can, anyway. But, then I saw it. I saw this untold beauty at the corner of my eye, and it was Sex Report. Yeah. This thing here. This was the Rolls Royce of exploding pranks. This is a silhouette of a man and a woman, and it says Sex Report. People are like, what is this? They open it up, it explodes in their face. Pretty straightforward. In my school, nobody was having sex, and if they were having sex, they weren't reporting about it. So this was meant to be used in my school. So the next day, I put it in my pocket, and it was a final. We had Talmud class. We had a Talmud final, and we had a free period. Everybody was sitting around, all nervous, studying, and I take out Sex Report, and I put it in the table next to me, and I'm like, guys, put my finger next to my mouth. Guys, wait. And everybody's looking, and then this older jocker kid named Noam Osband goes up to the Sex Report. I mean, we're a bunch of horny, overworked kids. I mean, who's not overworked? And he opens it up, and it explodes in his, it was supposed to explode, but it didn't. It explodes in his face, he falls back 2 feet, and everybody's laughing. And the mood, I lightened up the mood. The mood went from serious and very tense to like everybody was smiling ear to ear. Noam Osman gets up, you got me, everybody's happy. I was impressed. I was like, I hit gold. This is a gold mine. This is amazing. So I started using it again during breakfast, and I was like, okay, this would be a perfect way for me to bond with the cool kids at Brooklyn High. So I did something. I took sex report to Brooklyn High, and I was like, they're gonna think I'm so cool. So I put it on the table next to me, and then I hid, and then some girl kind of looked like, it was attractive, kind of looked like Gwen Stefani with rollerblades on. She opens the sex report, explodes in her face, and she just got really angry. And I was like, huh? And I was like, what'd you do? And she's just like, he threw it at me. He's like, fuck you, asshole. I put sex report again on the pavement. I'm like, maybe that was a fluke, And then there was this guy, this guy with piercings and a Deftones t-shirt, and he had like a gun on it. I was like, oh, this guy's really, he's gonna like this. And he opens up the sex report, explodes in his face, and he just looks at me, and I was like, and he's like, you're a dickwad. And then he takes the sex report, he puts it in his pocket, and he walks away. I was like distraught. I went back to the school, very embarrassed and ashamed. And a lot of things have changed. Time has passed. I have diversified my friendship portfolio. I went to NYU. I traveled the world. I have friends from all races, religions, and creeds. I'm not religious anymore, but there is something to say about when I talk about high school, people are like, "You were never bullied?" I'm like, no. There's something to say about that innocence. There's something to say about that innocence and that safeness and that community that we had in my Maimonides school. And now I went to see my friend. I got a 5-month-year-old, and he's like, "So, where are you going to send the kid? Public school or my mom? Jewish school?" And I'm like, I'm leaning toward Jewish school.
Woo!